let's talk about Honkai Star Rail, or should I say Genshin TCG if it was made into a full flushed out game painted with Honkai on top. I absolutely love this game. I've been playing it for about 15-16 hours now since release, and I love it. I love this game. I have really enjoyed my time with it. Now, that's coming from a place that I really like turn-based games, and it might not be the game for you, but I genuinely like this game. So let's talk about what I found to be really good about this game and why I like it so much, and also some of the things that I find to be really bad, which are honestly at this point just kind of Mihoyo things. So let's go ahead and hop into it now. Starting off with some of the things that I actually really like about this game, and the list is kind of long. Not to say I don't have any dislikes or cons about the game, but we'll talk about those later. Let's talk about the character building first. Now, the character building in this game is actually really similar to Genshin's character building, and honestly, most aspects of this game are very similar to Genshin. So it does feel really familiar, which is another pro on this list for me. It's very familiar. So if you're coming from playing Genshin, I think this will be really easy to transition into because of the ease of access and how easy this game is to get into from playing those games. It's just a really familiar UI. It's also a really familiar equipment system, character building system, and this goes a little bit more in depth than Genshin's. Not much, but it does. So as far as the character building in this game goes, guys, we have light cones, traces, relics, and also Eldion or Eidolons, whatever they're called. Yeah, okay, I guess. So basically what the light cones are, guys, they're basically weapons from Genshin Impact. So you have like your own light cone banner where you summon for these light cones. You can also get them from the standard banner as well. So yeah, basically just the same as Genshin. You have your light cones, which are like weapons in this game. Then you have your traces, which is like your skill tree kind of, and this is just like leveling up your actual abilities on each of your characters in Genshin. You basically go through the skill tree, level up their skills, and so on and so forth. You unlock extra abilities and stuff by doing this. Then you have your relics, which are basically just artifacts. Literally, bar for bar, they're just artifacts. They have like the same UI and everything with them, artifacts. And then finally you have your Eldions, which is basically your constellations. You have 6 of them, so 6 dupes will get you to C6 or E6 in this game, I guess you would say. Each Eidolon will give you a separate ability, some of them of which will actually increase the actual skill. If we look right here, this is going to increase ultimate level by 2, basic attack by 1, and that's just how it works basically. Same as Genshin. Same as Genshin's constellations, guys. Also, something I should mention with the character building, these characters the game starts you out with, like Asta, Serval, Dawn, Traveler, and March, they all are actually pretty decent to use and can get you probably through most of the game with just those characters alone. They're pretty good. They're pretty good without having any 5 stars, and I was genuinely impressed with all their abilities. So it does make things a bit more free-to-play friendly with these characters being so easily accessible and being so good early game, especially with the Traveler or MC. Like when they get their fire ability, they become busted. So yeah, pretty good, and all around had a good time enjoying some of these starter characters. Also, another big pro for me, guys, is the actual combat itself. The combat in this game, pretty good. I've been enjoying the combat quite a bit. The combat can look kind of daunting, but really, honestly, is just a scaled up version of Genshin TCG if you played Genshin TCG before. That was also turn-based. This is turn-based. It doesn't have like the same system where you need certain energy cubes to get like certain abilities off, but it does have an energy system nonetheless. But I do feel like this combat is very accessible for new players in the turn-based combat genre of games. I think this is really easy to get into, and also I feel as though the skill ceiling for this and like team building for this can get quite high as well. There's so many different variants of teams you can build, especially when they start adding a lot more characters in later on down the line. I feel like this could be really good for the game, and also makes team building just really fun because you can just combo a bunch of different things together. Like for example, my team right now is literally just using damage over time. I have my old team structured around using damage over time, using Serval to proc off some electrocution. Sampo is here to be a buff to increase the amount of DOT enemies take. I have Asta here, which increases my damage and inflicts them with a fire debuff. And of course, we have our Frostman here, Gerard, which also helps out as far as combat goes. He's able to provide shield, and he is also able to provide some freezing damage to get those debuffs off on the enemies. Now, you don't have to build a team like this. I think DOT is probably the best thing in the game right now, but overall, I really enjoyed this. Now, as far as content goes for this game, guys, I feel like for early to mid game, there is quite a bit of content, and the content is good. Same can be said for Genshin and Honkai Impact III as well. I don't know how the late game's going to be yet, but it's probably going to be a slugfest just like Genshin is, and it's probably just going to be a complete grind fest for artifacts. That's what I'm going to assume already. but early to mid-game content is good just like all those other games. So as far as like content this game has to offer is, of course, you have your story, which is great, by the way. We'll talk about that in a second. Also, you're gonna have like your abyss mode, which is basically like the abyss boss. You're gonna have another mode that's kind of like a roguelike mode. If you played Honkai Impact the Third, it's kind of like the Elysian Realm, where you go through each stage, you pick up buffs, and you keep fighting enemies, and you keep getting buffs and getting stronger and stronger until you fight a final boss, and then you get your rewards at the end. I think that's really good for this as well. Of course, you have your domains. You have your character XP domain. You have your artifact or light cone XP domain. You have your credit domain, which is basically like Mora or gold, whatever you want to call it. And then you also have your artifact domains, or relic domains, I guess they're called in this, to get those relics and stuff like that. So hopping into the story and world building, I feel like this is where this game is really strong at, and I feel like this is where always like Hoyoverse games have been really strong at. This game honestly makes side characters feel like they're part of the world. I feel like the voice acting in general for this game is really, really good. I feel like the whole atmosphere and experience I've had so far with just the story, side quest, everything has just been super, super fun and super cohesive so far, and I really like the story. This has really made the game a lot more fun for me. Just going into like a side quest and following the little doggo around, and he is so cute, and oh my gosh, I love him. But yeah, this has been great. And then also seeing when Pomcom gets sad and depressed and you have to cheer him up, or he gets stuck somewhere, I love it. I love it. I love the world building that this game does, and honestly that all the Hoyoverse games do. They do it really well. They make the characters really lovable and likable, and I think this is why people are playing this game now, and I think it's the reason maybe you should try the game out. But guys, all good things have bad things too, so let's talk about the cons that I have with this game. Starting off at number 1, the world exploration, or the exploring, or whatever you want to call it. It's kind of down bad. It's kind of like a locked level where you have to explore. It has boundaries everywhere and stuff like that. There's no jumping, anything like that. So it's not really open world explore for yourself. It has like an open area, I would say, that you can go explore that area for. And I feel like this does bring the game down a little bit. For me anyways, because it does bring down that explorability, because you can't just go check every nook and cranny because you know exactly where everything's at, or where everything's open on the map already. So for me, that kind of brings it down. It's a con for me. It's just not open world exploration, and honestly really feels like Honkai's open world, and I just don't think this is done too well. Of course, there is stuff you can find in the world, especially in like your main hub of like the spaceship, but other than that, I mean, it's just kind of down bad. And you know, it's not terrible, but it's not good either, I would say. The gacha is not it, but I think we can know that from all gacha games. I think we know that from all MiHoYo games. The gacha in this game is not it. The same as it's not good in Honkai, and the same that it's not good in Genshin either. The rates in this game are the same rates they have in those games, so I don't like the gacha in this game. Also, the 90-summon pity system with a 50-50 at the end to get the guaranteed character. I don't like that. Please, I don't. I hate it when I do that. I hate it. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. That's the reason I quit Genshin, because I couldn't pull any of the guaranteed 5 stars. I would lose every single 50-50, and yep, I don't like that. The resin system's back, boys. Genshin has this problem, and this game's gonna have this problem too. The resin system, or I guess it's called Trailblazer power in this game. I don't like it. I hate it, and I don't want to see it again, but it's here, and we're gonna have to deal with it. I don't like the resin system because it content locks you out of certain stuff you want to do during the day, and honestly, it's kind of expensive to refill it. Also, going along with this resin system, to actually get EXP for your characters is kind of like the ley lines in Genshin, if you want to do those to get XP, but it's domains in this, so you have to go through and do domains to actually get XP for your characters, and I don't like that at all, because then you can't farm for your relics or anything else because you're trying to get your XP for your characters and level them up. And this leads me to the last point. The late game, I think, is going to be absolutely atrocious and absolutely copium, so I guess that's something we'll have to wait and see, because I'm not there yet, so I really can't speak on it. But judging from other Hoyoverse games, like Genshin, and this game is very similar to Genshin in a lot of ways, I think the late game is going to be absolutely atrocious, absolutely abysmal, and you're just going to be doing your dailies, and I think a lot of people are going to leave the game then. I think most of the Genshin players that are playing this game will probably leave this game for Genshin or go back to another game after that late game content. I see a massive drop in players after that, but hopefully the late game is not that bad and it's good. So yeah, but yeah, that's really all I have to say in today's video. Hope everyone enjoyed this. If you guys want more Honkai videos, I do plan on making more. Let me know in the comments below what kind of videos you want for Honkai, or what kind of content you want to see for Honkai. Anyways, that's gonna do it for today's video. Hope everyone enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later, bye bye.